discuss about learnings. Should have the base of English. Should be a Messiah, salvation, Surfside. And for Shlema for Yechiel, nothing and fair. Okay, we're going to start Ayin Zion on the base. 10 lines from the bottom. It starts Yochel Yaver. I'm sorry, I skipped a page. We're going to start on Ayin Vav on the base, and it's 5 lines from the bottom. Bani Basi Bidvarecha. So what happens here, you ready? What happens here is that we quoted a pasuk from Daniel, and we were looking for a source that putting on ointments and bathing is considered affliction. Because on Yom Kippur it says you should afflict yourself. Well, what does afflict mean? Well, it says 5 times that verse, you should afflict yourself. So we have 5 different afflictions. So eating and drinking, we said, was one. Then we said that bathing and putting on ointments, oils, they would put on oils on their skin. The sun was very strong, they would put on oil. So that was another 2. But what's our source for that? How do you know that this is considered affliction if you don't put it on? Refraining from that. So we quoted this pasuk in Daniel. It says over here, I brought this. This is the more modern one. They Judaicized this in 1983. They had all the older school. There's a difference in the version. So this says it was in the 3rd year of Koresh, king of Persia. Word was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was called Belshazzar, and the word was true and had understanding of vision. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 whole weeks. Yeah, it doesn't say exactly if the 3 weeks are 3 weeks that we would assume. Apparently, Koresh put a stop to the building of the Beis Hamikdash because of reports from the Samaritans that the people are going to be rebellious if they have their own temple, so they put a stop to it. So he says like this: Lechem chumudis le'achalti, I ate no pleasant bread. Basar v'yayin le'balpi, neither came flesh nor wine into my mouth. V'sach le'sachti, neither did I anoint myself at all. Malay shleisha shvuim yamim, for those 3 whole weeks. And then it goes on, and it says, I lifted up my eyes, and behold, there was a man, levush abadim, was dressed in linen, and his loins were girded with fine gold, the bupas. It goes on. It's referring to the angel Gabriel. And he says that my friends were with me. This is the famous piece. They did not see this vision. But they had this fear came over them. That's the Maslayo Chazi that the Gemara tells us. And they ran away. They hid themselves. I was there alone with this vision, and I hear his voice. I fell to the ground. His hand touched me, and he lifts me up. He says, Daniel ish chamudes, listen to this and understand that I'm speaking to you and that I was sent to you. And he says that from the day that you understood to afflict yourself, okay, that's how we got the affliction. Your words were heard. And Vani Basi Bidvarecha, and I have come because of your words. The Gemara now asks, what does it mean I have come because of your words? My Vani Basi Bidvarecha. What is Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, saying that he came because of Daniel's words? So it says behind the ksiv. This is based on another pasuk. It says V'shiv mishmi zikni beis Yisrael. We jump to Yecheskel. Yecheskel Perek Ches. Okay, over here it's in the 6th year. 6th year means the 6th year of Yafin's capture. I guess that means it's 5 years before the Tzidkiyahu was taken away, right? Before the actual destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. And he is Shishi B'Chamisha B'Chodesh in the 6th day of the 6th month. It's Av, right? The 6th month would be Av, and the 6th day is Vav Av. Sitting in his house, the elders of Yerushalayim are before him, and he gets the vision of Hashem. And there's an appearance, a likeness of fire. He stretches out his hand, grabs me by my tzitzis reishi. He lifts me up between the heaven and the earth. I go to Yerushalayim, either in a vision or literally. And he has these 4 visions of people serving idols in the Beis Hamikdash, different types of idols. This is Yecheskel. Okay, let's take a look at the psukim. Look, the Gemara is going to quote most of its psukim. Okay, there are 70 elders. And this fellow is there as well. Standing in front of them, each one has his fire pan in his hand. And the cloud of the Keteris is going up. They're all worshipping idols there. The image of a hand is stretched out. He lifts me by the locks of my hair. He lifts me between the earth and the heavens. I quoted the later pasuk before the first pasuk. And goes into the Yerushalayim, to the entrance, the inner entrance that's just facing north. And over there is an image of jealousy, which is referring to an idol. There's an idol there. And he brings me al Chatzar Beis Hashem Apnimis, the inner courtyard. In the entrance of the chamber, between the Ulam and the Mizbeach, there's 25 men there. Their backs are to the Heichal. Their faces to the east. And they're bowing to the sun. There's one idol or another. The Samalakin, I think they say, was an Asherah tree. This is like a digression. If it says that their face is east, then don't I know that their back is to the west? Right. The Kodesh HaKadoshim was on the west. We daven to the east because Eretz Yisrael is to the east. But when you're in the Beis Hamikdash, the west is the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So, Malamed, but rather this teaches us Shayupayr Matzim Matrizim Klapi Mata. It's maybe a euphemistic expression. This means that they were uncovering their backsides and they were going to the bathroom Klapi Mata, which probably means to say Klapi Maila, in front of Hashem. That's what it was, like a disgracing Hashem. Yeah, this is his vision. He's not there. He was exiled earlier. He's in Babel, Yecheskel. He's going back and he's seeing what's going on. And In Eretz Yisrael, the people thought that we have a base of English. We're invincible. They didn't realize that their behavior was like a big deal. So, Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Michal, so Hashem says to the angel, Michal, Sarchu Masecha. Your nation went sour. They're sinning. But look, it's enough. There's good people there too. No, I'm going to destroy. I'm going to burn them and the good that's among them. The good people weren't protesting. They weren't stopping what was going on. Miyad, immediately, by Yomer Lish Levush Abadim. Who's the man Levush Abadim? We had before. It's Gabriel, the other angel. They said to Gabriel, Vayomer, he says, Bayal Binais Legalgal al Tachas Lekruv. Okay, this in Kabbalistic things. You come into the wheel, which is under the Keruvim, in between the wheel and the Keruvim. And fill up your palms with coals. Mibinis Lekruvim from in between there. Usrei Kalayir and throw it on the city. Vayavalena and then come back. Miad Beislach Kruvel Esyadi Mibinis Lekruvim El Aish. Hashem bin Sakruvim. These have eaten El Chafne Levash Shabbat Mikach Bayatza. Instead of Gabriel taking the coals, the Kruv takes the coals and puts it into his hand. And puts it into Gabriel's hand. Gabriel himself didn't take it. The Kruv is taking and putting it into his hands. Amar Rav Chanan Bar Bisna, Amar Rav Shimon Chasida. Rav Chanan Bar Bisna says, name of Rav Shimon Chasida, Mali lein etztanu gechalam yadi shel Kruv, liyadi shel Gabriel, lein yishtarim misinim shel Yisrael sar depalet. If there wasn't that exchange from the hands of the Kruv, it became a klisheni. See, this is a raya klisheni by a double question. It becomes a klisheni. It cooled off when it passed from his hands to Gabriel's hands. If that didn't happen, then the enemies of the Jews, which is a euphemism, it means to say the Jewish people would not have any remnant left. Ksiv, and then it says, the man that's levush abadim, that's dressed in white, a keses is usually the scribe's inkwell. It's on his. Did they have it like a thing that they would put like a cell phone holder? Like a keses. A keses for Muslim. Yeah, that sounds like a mess. Okay. Meishiv Davar, Leimar Asisi Kasher Tzivisani. Now the truth is that there's another chapter that's in between us. You remember in the Navi it says that you have to go and put anyone on everyone's head a letter tough. Just put it on the heads of the people that are, it says over there, something in between. Chapter 8 is where he's seeing all of these visions of people worshiping idols in the temple. Then in chapter 9, here he has like the prophetic visions. Yeah, this is Gabriel. Where is this where it says Asisi Kasher Tzivisani? That's in 9. But it's really after. It's really after he puts the tuff on everyone's head. Yeah, the end of chapter 9. Meshiv Davalemar, I have done according to all that thou hast commanded me. Okay. So he returns and he says that he did what he was told. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, at that time, they take Gabriel from behind the curtain and they whip him with 60 whips of fire. Also the Nura. That's the curse.
I know.
Yeah, that's the expression. Remember they said that the Kennedys got the also the Nura. Remember that? Yeah, apparently some tzaddik was on a ship with the Kennedys, and they went and they gave him a curse, and then all the Kennedys have this like unnatural death. So the curse that they said was called Pulsa de Nura. That's this expression. So they give this to Gabriel. Amrlei, they tell Gabriel, Ilay avadat, Ilay avadat. If you didn't fulfill what Hashem told you to do, so you didn't fulfill it, okay. If you did fulfill it, why didn't you do it like you were told to do it? In other words, you didn't take it directly, the coals, to throw it over the city. You allowed it to cool. And even that you did do it, leslach, do you not agree with that you don't respond, you don't reply if you're given a mission to cause destruction? You don't come back and you say that you did it.
He waited until it was cool.
He waited till it was right. And then he comes back and he says, I did it. They said, you're not supposed to come back and you say that you did a destruction. You're just supposed to like disappear. Right. Right. Yeah. I thought it said before that by Yahweh Laina, it sounds like he's supposed to come back. Gets in trouble. Right. Look at what happens. I see you Leduviel Sara de Parsai. So who goes in place of Gabriel? In place of Gabriel goes Duviel. This is the angel. It sounds like a beer. No. It's a beer, the angel of Persia. Comes in. V'ukmei b'charikai. Charikai means in its place. This expression is used in make a shliach again. They say, I'm putting someone b'charikai in my place. No one knows what charikai is unless we translate it here, but it's an Aramaic word. Charikai in his stead. V'shimish esrim v'echad yom, and he's there for 21 days. It sounds like it's the 3 weeks, but it's some other 3 weeks that's going on. It's not necessarily the 3 weeks of the destruction. Behind the ksiv, and that's what it says in the pasuk. Oh, now we're back in Daniel. That the angel of Persia is there for 3 weeks, for 21 days. And Michal, Echad Asarim Arishain Bala Zrini comes to help me. And I'm there next to the kings of Persia. They give him 21 kings in the port of a place, Mashik. This angel of Persia tells the kings, write down that the Jewish people need to pay tax. Kasvale, they write that. Write down that the rabbis, this means Rabbanan can mean students. They also need to pay Bacharga, and also need to pay a karga, is the head tax. They also need to pay a tax. Sivale, they write it down. At the time that it's coming to sign the document, Ahmad Gabriel Gabriel gets up from behind the curtain. In vain is for you, those that wake up early, those that stay late, that sit at work late. They eat the bread of sorrow. So he gives to his beloved sleep. Okay, we understand what it means. That in vain is everything that you're toiling. You're waking up early, you're staying late. All the work that the workman is doing is all in vain. He gives his beloved sleep. What does that mean? Amar Rav Yitzchak. Yeah. Amar Rav Yitzchak, Elon Shesem Shel Talmidei Chacham Shemenad V'Shina B'Olam Hazeh V'Zeichas L'Olam Haba. Yeah, you don't hear this type of stuff. But look at what he says. Rabbi Yitzchak says this is the wives of the Talmid Chachamim, that they lose sleep in this world because they wake up when the husband wakes up in the morning. He's moving around, finding his clothing and shoes. They also wake up, and they stay up late at night. When he comes home, they wait up for him. So they lose sleep in this world, but they merit in the world to come. He's saying that, well, how you real time? He's trying to stop the tax from going on the Talmidei Chachamim. Yeah, you're about to see. Yeah. However, they don't listen to Gabriel. He says, if all of the scholars of the nations of the world are on a scale, but Daniel and Daniel, the beloved man, is on the other side of the scale, the balance. Is he not going to outweigh all of them? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem says, who is this that's saying nice things about my children? Amar Lefanav Rebbeinu Shalom Gabriel. Says, Master of the world, it's Gabriel. Amalem Yavei. So let him come back. Shenemar Vani Basi B'Tvarecha. I came in your words. I mentioned Daniel. Gabriel is telling Daniel, I was let back in because I mentioned your name. So we had a pasuk in Daniel that we didn't understand. We quoted a whole section from Yechezkel that explained that Gabriel was sent out and he lost his job, lost his position, and he comes back because he mentions Daniel's name. Yeah, defrock. Yeah. Right. Okay. Amalahu Leo says, come in. Ailu, they brought him in. He sees that Devil, the angel of Persia, has the document that says that the Jewish people have to pay the tax and that the rabbis have to pay the tax. He wants to take it from him. So Devil swallows it. Some say that it was signed, but it was never sealed. Some say, but some say that it was sealed, but when he swallowed it, the seal fell off. I know the Malchus of the Pras. That's why if you go to Persia, you'll find some people pay tax and some people don't. I guess it wasn't done systematically enough that it was like everyone had to pay. It was like sort of like random. Hey, you didn't pay. Oh, okay, you have to pay. That's what it sounds. That's what it sounds like. Bani Yaitse Vinisar Yafanba goes on over there in Daniel. It says, then the angel of Greece comes. Avi, Lekadashkach screamed that the Jewish people should not be under the jurisdiction of Greece, and no one listened to him. Because we mentioned, how do we get into this? Because Gabriel tells Daniel that you afflicted yourself by not anointing himself and not bathing. So, and I have come in your words. So we mentioned I have come in your words, so we explained what it means again. Okay. We have another pshat. Oh, that was just explaining a pasuk. Another interpretation, another way, if you want, you could say Rechitza Dekrinim Minal. And how do you know that washing is considered, that not washing is considered an affliction? a person can't bathe is considered a hinoi. Mihacha. We know it from here. The ksiv. Regarding of Yasser, what happened over here was that Adoniyahu was the brother of Shlomo, and he says, "I'm going to be king." And Bathsheba and Nasan Nabi make a big deal about this. They go into David. They say, "You promised that my son was going to be the king." Now Adoniyahu says, "I'm going to." Anyway, they anoint Shlomo Melech. Now, what about all the people that supported Adoniyahu? So Shlomo Melech, when he becomes king, says, the king says, "Anasis leich, go to Anasis. I'll sadecha to your field, because you're really deserving of death. But today I won't kill you. David Avi. Of Yasser was the Kohen Gadol. So it's because you carried the Aron in front of David, my father, and he suffered in all of my father's sufferings. It means he went together with him when they were running away from Absalom. Right? Absalom was trying to kill his father, David. David, Ki amru ha'am rav ha'ayef v'tzama b'midbar. Because they said the people are hungry and tired and thirsty in the desert. And they got food from, I forget who gave them food over there. Who are the people that sat by his table? Shlomo Melech brought them to his table because they served him food. Anyway, they said the people were hungry. People were hungry and they were tired and thirsty. So, what is hungry? Rav, they were hungry. Milechem, they didn't have bread. But some they were thirsty. Mimayim, they didn't have water. Oyef, what does it mean tired? Tired from what? Oyef mimay, lav mirachitza. It must mean they didn't have a bath. That's why they were tired. Maybe it was they're tired meant that they were weak. Oyef is like weak. They were weak because they didn't have shoes. How do you know it means they didn't have a bath? Elam Rav Yitzchak mihacha. Rav Yitzchak says, I have another source. It says, Mayim karim al nefesh ayefa. Cold water on a weary soul, on a tired soul. You see the word ayef? But how does it recover? From water. That means ayef meant that it didn't have a bath. Umar says, Vidilma mishtiya. Maybe it means that it was weary because it didn't have a drink. You know, it means a bath. Miksiv b'nefesh ayefa. Does it say in a weary soul? Al nefesh ayefa. Siv. It says on the weary soul. It means the bath. On. It's not inside. Yeah. Okay, now we're up to not wearing shoes on Yom Kippur. How do you know that that's considered an affliction? David is going up by the olives. He's going up and he's crying. His head is chafay. Chafay means covered. And he's going barefoot. Yachef. Yachef mimai, what does it mean barefoot? Lav minil is a sandal.
Covered or not covered?
It's uncovered. Uncovered. So he's barefoot. Yachaf, it's translated as barefoot. The Gemara says, miratka. How do you know that when a king, it says that he's yachaf, he's barefoot? How do you know it means he's not wearing shoes? Maybe it means he doesn't have his horse and his whip. By a king, without his horse and whip, he's barefoot. I mean, that's like barefoot. Doesn't have his car. He's walking. Elam Rab Nachman by Yitzchak mihacha. Leich v'sachta hasak me'al masnecha v'nalcha v'tachleitz me'al raglecha. Says in Yeshaya, He's going go and open your the sackcloth that's around your loins and take the shoes off your feet. And he did so. He went naked and barefoot. Yachef mimai. What does it mean barefoot? Lav minil a sandal does not mean that he's not wearing shoes. The Gemara says maybe he was wearing torn shoes, patched. Maybe it means patch. How do you know it means? Because if you don't say so, then arum, when it says naked, arum mamish, you want it to say that it means totally naked? It means that he was wearing tatters. He's wearing tattered shoes. Yeah? Doesn't mean that he was totally naked. It means his clothing weren't appropriate. Like you say so on, yeah. But the boys, they come to yeshiva in their pajamas or whatever. They go get dressed. What do you mean? He's not dressed? Oh, yeah. Get dressed means like dress for the occasion. Dress for the occasion. So here we're saying that he was naked and barefoot means that he wasn't dressed for the occasion. Elamar Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Mehacha. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, we're looking for without wearing shoes is considered an inay. It says, Mini raglcha miyachef, v'greincha mitzmeya, mitzama. Withhold your feet, refrain your feet from being barefoot, and your throat from being thirsty. What does that mean? Don't sin, because the sin would lead to exile. And exile would be barefoot. Don't say idle chatter so that the person doesn't come to thirst. Summer. To thirst. Okay. So that tells me that it means barefoot. You see over here it's not dealing with the king. So we're not thinking that maybe it means without a horse. By David HaMelech, we thought if he's going barefoot means it could be as a king. I mean, without a horse is barefoot. But when it came to Yeshaya, he wouldn't have had a horse anyway. So barefoot means barefoot. That's our explanation. Yeah. We're looking for the word. We're looking for the word inai. Right. There's a jacket. Okay. Yeah, we had a discussion before if these things are rabbinic or biblical. We know there's no karas. There's only karas for eating and drinking. What about work? Work, I don't know if there's karas for work. I think work was definitely a biblical law, not that the work I mentioned. But eating and drinking is a biblical law which incurs the karas punishment. And then there's these other prohibitions to afflict the soul, which are either rabbinic or biblical, but they don't have the same punishment. We're getting them from these other sources. No, I don't think so. Because on Shabbos, you have all of the rules of malachas. And on Yom Kippur, you have all of those same rules. Of all the malachas of Shabbos, plus you have these extra laws. Okay, yeah. Refraining from marital relations is considered an affliction. How do you know that? Lavan tells Yaakov not to afflict his daughters, and not to take other wives. In Tanami Kashmish, what does it mean to afflict, to cause them suffering? That means not to have relations with them. Dimtika, and what does it mean if you take women? That's mitzaris. That means to take a second wife is called a tzara. Because they bother each other. It's like a thorn. Maybe what Lavan was saying was not that you refrain from marital relations. He was telling Yaakov, as bad as Lavan was, he wanted the best for his daughter. So it seems. It's not that he was telling them not that he was telling him that he needs to have relations with his daughters. We're saying don't take other wives and don't take other wives. So it says, Miksa, you see, it's saying is, don't afflict my daughters by taking other wives. That's what, maybe it's all one sentence. Miksa vim tikach, does it say, if you take other wives? Vim tikach, if it's a separate sentence. It says, and don't take other. Maybe both are referring to other wives. Maybe what he meant is like this. There were other wives there, Bilhah and Zilpah. Maybe what Lavan was saying was, don't raise them up to being equal status to my daughters, the main wives, and also don't take other wives from the outside. So it says, Dumya dimtika, miksiv imtikach v'imtana, imtana v'imtikach. If that would be the case, then it would have switched it around, because it would have said the harsher one second. Don't do this and don't do that. Here it said, if it would be not to take other wives from the outside, so it wouldn't have said imtikach. It would have said imtikach. Right. Don't even raise them up as okay. Amar le Rav Papa Abaya. Rav Papa is a student of Abaya. Tells to Abaya, the tashmish kofei. Relations is an affliction, not the act of relations, not the refraining from relations. Why? By Dina and Shem, it says that he lay with her and he afflicted her. Shem raped Dina, and he lay with her and he afflicted her. That means that the relations itself was an affliction. It's a different shot than what Rashi tells us over there in Chumash. She desired more relations, and he didn't have more relations with her. So we're saying that the affliction is the refraining from relations. Yeah. Rashi over there says it's like Kedarka, which is sodomy. He afflicted her with abnormal relations. Tana Rabbanan was taught in a brisa. Asalech mixus gufay kechal gufay. Even part of the body is forbidden to wash on Yom Kippur. If a person's dirty, it's dirty, you can wash off. We're talking about pleasurable washing, like a bath, a shower, to freshen up. That's a problem. Also, you're not allowed to put on ointments on the part of the body, just like the whole body. It's not like someone wants like a chapped skin or something. Oh, that would be an exception. But if someone just wants his hands to feel moisturized or something, so. But if he has some sort of bruises, blisters, something on his head that he needs ointment, that's a different story. It was taught in the yeshiva of Menashe that Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says a person can wash one hand with water and she can feed her child, and it's not a problem. He didn't want to even wash one hand. He didn't want to wash on Yom Kippur. So he didn't want to feed his child. They made a decree that he has to feed with both hands on Shammai. Shammai was very strict, that he was going to refrain from feeding his children because he didn't wash his hands. And you don't want to touch food without washing hands. My time, was the reason I'm Rabbi Misham Shivsa. Shivsa is a demon that comes on the hands if the person doesn't wash them in the morning when he wakes up. That's the Negabah. Wash them. It only comes off if you wash in the Alter Rebbe says it in the alternating way. I mentioned once that we're talking about putting tefillin on someone that didn't wash like a lasa. So I asked this fellow, I opened up the Gemara Yoma, he turns to a page. It's like looking up, let's see. It could be he was looking at this place was place seems lenient. Yeah. Tanarabanan, let's start in a brisa. If someone is going to see the grief to his father, his teacher, someone that's greater than him, he's allowed to go into the water. It's not a problem. They have an interesting question. Let's say the teacher is going to see the student. Does this happen? Apparently, yes. Tashima, Damar of Yitzchak Bar Chana, Anachazise Liziri, Dazzle Gabir Pia Barashi Talmide. I saw Ziri, who was a friend of Rav, and he's going to see Chia Barashi. Chia Barashi was a student of Rav. Apparently, here he was a student of Ziri as well. Talmide, his student. So he went to see Chia Barashi. He went to water. He's allowed to. Ravashi Amar, Rav Chia Barashi Dazzle Gabir Ziri Rabbi. No, you got the story wrong. That was Rav Chia Barashi was going to his teachers. You don't have an answer yet. Rabba Sharl V'nei Avar Yamina, the Maver B'mayel in a Turi Peri. Rabba allowed, sorry? Yeah, that's the, but that's the, yeah. You read Rabbi Nachman Shita, he can't answer it because Ravashi says that it was the wrong way. Rava allowed the people of Avar Yamina, Lemevar B'maya, to go through water and to repair to watch their fruits. They had fruits that they needed to watch from. People shouldn't come and steal them. He allowed them to go through water on Yom Kippur. Amalei Abaya LeRava, Abaya says to Rava that they were friends. Tani de Mesailach, I have a support for you. Shemei Peres, Evim Atzavar B'may Menacheshim. People that are guarding the fruits are allowed to go through the water. And Robert is here at the store in Homestead. So he started by selling cucumbers as a kid, like kids have a lemonade stand. So that's how he started this store. It's a huge business, wild. But he said that they started to do lychees. And he went on vacation. He had 5 dogs, German shepherds that were watching the thing. They went on vacation. Come back, the dogs were shot, and all the fruits were stolen. He said they got out of that business. Can you imagine? In Homestead. So that's a dangerous business. He started the business of cucumbers started to grow. He started to sell lychees. Now we sell jackfruit. Oh, really? Wow. So 20 years later, I went back. I had a girl who said, he knows how to make business. Okay, Rav Yosef Sharla Levnei Beitarbu Lemever Maila Mese Lepirka. Rabbi Yosef allowed the people of Beitarbu, to go through water to come to the shir. Can you imagine a shir on Yom Kippur? But Lemeza Leisharlo, but he didn't allow them to go back after the shir. Amalei Abayim came out to Machin Lasalove. Abaya says they're not going to come next year if you don't allow them. This is the heter for the Hatzala and the ambulance. Ikadami Sharlo Lemesa v'Sharlo Lemezal. Some say that Rabbi Yosef allowed them both. A different version of the story. Lemezal v'Sharlo Lemezal. Okay. Amalei Abaya Bishlam Lemesa L'Chayim. I understand to come. El Lemezal, my time of why you allow them to go back. So he responded, Rabbi Yosef responded, Kadesh Leite Machshila Masalave, so that next year they're going to come. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yehuda, Vikami Aguda Dinar, Papa, or Pras. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yehuda, are standing on the edge of the river. Amavra de Chatzda, by the bridge of Chatzda. The Ravikoi, Rami Bar Papa Mehachisa. And Rami Bar Papa is on the other side. Amavra could mean the crossing. Yeah, it's probably not a bridge. Ramalukala, he raises his voice and as he shouts out to them, can I come over? Yeah. Can I come across to ask you a shaila in halachic shaila? Amle Rav Yehuda responds, Rabbi Shmuel Damri Tavayu Oiver Bavachli Yetziad Mitachas Chefes Chalukai. Rab and Shmuel both say that you can go through the water, but you can't lift your hands up. They would wear gowns. You can't lift your hands up to lift the gown up to your neck so that it doesn't get wet, because then that looks like you're carrying. Maybe it is carrying, and that's a problem. Ikadamri Amalei Rav Shmuel Bar Rav Yehuda Tanina. It wasn't Rav Yehuda that responded, it was Rav Shmuel Bar Rav Yehuda. It says that it's a Mishnah or a Brisa. Oiver Bavachli Yetziyad Mitachas Chefes Chalukai. Maskav Rav Yosef B'chol Ki Agavna Mishari. Rav Yosef says you're allowed to go through water like this and during the weekday. Baksiv, but it says in Yechezkel, Vayimad Elef Ba'ama Vayabireni B'mayim Meyafasim. It says that he measured 1,000 cubits and he brought me in the water that goes up to the ankle. From here you see that you're allowed to walk through water that's up to the ankles. Vayimad Elef Vayabireni B'mayim Berkayim. We can't here. We see that you're allowed to walk up until your knees in water. That's about it. If it's rushing water, rushing water can knock a person over. It's no control. But it says no. You can. He walked in water up to his waist. Here you see you can walk up until the waist. Went to he measured the stream that you were not able to pass. Amar Abaya. So what he's saying that you're allowed to walk through water even up to his neck, right? But it's serious. It says that you can't walk through. It's dangerous water. It says Amar Abaya Shani Nachal der Dipimaya. No, when it's a stream, it's dangerous. This was still water. This was just like a reservoir, a lake. A lake you can walk through, but the water that's running, you're not supposed to go in. Oh, let's leave it here.